There is someone else in this room. You cannot see him, but you have felt him for years. In the silence between decisions, in the particular weight of a Sunday evening, in the 3 a.m. thought that arrives before you've had a chance to defend yourself. He is not a memory or a regret. He is something more specific than either. He is the version of you that took the risk you didn't, that made the call you rehearsed 100 times and never made, that left the city or stayed in it, that built the thing while you were still planning to build the thing. He is not haunting you out of cruelty. He is haunting you because you built him, detail by detail, year by year, every time you chose the version of your life that was easier to explain to other people. You fathered a ghost. And tonight, lying here in the dark, in the life that looks fine from the outside, the career, the apartment, the routine that functions, you can feel him, standing just at the edge of your vision, not angry, quiet. Tonight, I'm going to walk you through the protocol to settle this debt. This is not a collection of self-care habits to try when you feel like it. This is an audit of your life's ledger. We are going to examine the specific points where your logic failed and your fear took the wheel. We're going to look at the decisions that separate the man who builds a sanctuary of peace from the man who spends his final years living in a house of what-ifs. Every stage of this protocol was built for a different layer of your resistance. Parts of this protocol will settle quietly. Others will carry enough weight to shake your foundation. Allow the weight to settle. If it feels heavy, it's because it's replacing a void you've carried for too long. That discomfort is the sound of the ghost leaving. So, do not skip any part. If this is the clarity you've been seeking, acknowledge it by hitting the like button. Subscribe to join this collective. And before we begin, I want you to leave a declaration in the comments. Write these 5 words and mean them. The ledger is being settled. Then put your phone face down and simply listen. Now, I want to say something to you directly, and I want you to hear it without flinching. That feeling is not wisdom. It is not insight. It is not the universe sending you a signal. It is debt. Unstructured, compounding, unlived debt. And like all debt that goes unaddressed, it has been accruing interest in the dark while you were busy with other things. The philosopher Seneca wrote, almost 2,000 years ago, from inside one of the most powerful civilizations the world had ever produced. We suffer more in imagination than in reality. He was not offering comfort. He was making a diagnosis. Most of what is weighing on you tonight is not the life you are living. It is the one you are imagining you could have lived, running on a parallel track just out of reach. And the cost of that imagination, the cost of playing it safe while carrying the vision of a version of yourself who didn't. That is the debt of the unlived life. It is real. It is yours. And it will not be resolved by lying here feeling it. Let me tell you what overthinking actually is, not what it feels like, not the story you tell yourself about it. That you are being careful, that you are being responsible, that you simply need a little more information before you can move. What it actually is. Overthinking is cowardice wearing the clothes of intelligence. That is a hard sentence. Sit with it. The mind is an extraordinary machine, built for pattern recognition, built for anticipating threat, built above all else for survival. And for most of human history, that was sufficient. But the machine does not distinguish between the threat of a predator in the dark and the threat of a decision that might not work out. To the machine, they feel identical. The elevated heart rate, the narrowing of focus, the compulsive rehearsal of outcomes. Your nervous system tonight is running the same emergency protocol it would run if something in the dark were actually dangerous. But nothing is dangerous. The room is still. The only thing moving is your mind, and it is running in circles around a fixed point it cannot change. The Stoic philosophers had a framework for this. Marcus Aurelius, emperor, soldier, and one of the clearest thinkers who has ever put thought to paper, called it the Dichotomy of Control. The idea is simple enough to state in one sentence and difficult enough to implement to require a lifetime. Some things are within your control. Some things are not. Nothing else exists. That is the entire architecture. Within your control, your judgments, your decisions, your actions, your responses to what happens. Outside your control, the past, other people's choices, the timing of things, the economy, the version of your life you did not live. And here is where the insanity lives. Most men spend the majority of their mental energy governing territory they do not own, replaying conversations that ended, rebuilding decisions that are closed, running simulations of lives that are structurally unavailable. This is not reflection. Reflection has a product. Reflection moves forward. What you have been doing on these late nights, what has you lying here instead of resting, is not reflection. It is a man standing in front of a door that has been locked for years, trying every key he has ever owned, in the hope that something has changed in a lock that does not change. The door is closed. The day is a closed ledger. Every entry has been made. No amount of reviewing it tonight will alter a single line. I want to be precise about something, because precision matters here. I am not telling you the past doesn't count. It counts enormously. It built the machine you are. The choices you made, good and poor, the risks you took and the ones you didn't, all of it is structural. It is the foundation of the building you are standing in right now. What I am telling you is this. The foundation is poured. You cannot unpour it. And a man who spends his evenings inspecting cracks in concrete that is already set is not a thoughtful man. He is a man who is confused suffering for productivity. He is a man who is paying the debt of the unlived life with the interest of the days he still has. And that is the cruelest transaction available to him. There is a particular kind of man who makes this mistake at a sophisticated level. He is not idle. He reads. He thinks. He knows the frameworks. He has a library of books about deliberate living that he has read with great attention and very little application. He knows what he should do. He has known for years. The knowledge is not the problem. The knowledge has become the problem. Because as long as he is acquiring more of it, as long as the answer is still being refined, he does not have to live with the gap between knowing and doing. Seneca saw this man clearly. Show me that the good in life is not its length, but its use. The good is in the use, not the planning of the use, not the analysis of the plan, not the nightly review of why the plan has not yet begun. The use. And then there's this. Every night you spend feeding the ghost, giving him your attention, your anxiety, the hours of darkness that belong to your recovery. You are not just wasting time. You are actively constructing the version of yourself who arrives at 65 or 70 and looks back at this period this exact period right now, and recognizes it as the window. The window when there was still enough time to build something real. The window when the compound interest of a genuine decision could still accumulate to something powerful. The window when the 70-year-old version of you was still being built. He is being built right now, in this room, in what you choose to do with what remains of tonight, and with what you choose to do when the morning opens. The Stoics did not romanticize suffering. This is a misunderstanding of the tradition that has caused a great deal of unnecessary hardship in people who think they are practicing philosophy but are actually just performing difficulty. The Stoics were engineers. They looked at the structure of a life the way a builder looks at a structure, not with sentiment, not with mythology, but with clear eyes and practical questions. What is load-bearing? What is decorative? What will hold when the pressure increases? What will collapse? Apply that same logic to your life tonight, not harshly, practically. Paying off the debt of the unlived life does not require grand gestures. Grand gestures are for people who need an audience. You do not need an audience. You need a reckoning, quiet, honest, and precise. So let me give you one. The first payment is the hardest. It is the admission that the ghost is not a signal. He is not proof that you chose wrong. He is not evidence that you are behind. He is not a verdict on the worth of the life you have built. He is the natural consequence of a mind that was given a vision and not yet given the structure to act on it. The ghost exists because you are capable of imagining more. That is not a wound. That is the raw material of everything you still have time to build. Logic is your only sanctuary here, not inspiration, not motivation, not the electric feeling that sometimes accompanies a compelling idea. Those are weather. They come and they go. Logic holds. Logic says, I cannot rebuild yesterday. I can construct tomorrow. Logic says, the energy I am spending on the closed ledger belongs to the open one. Logic says, one decision, made genuinely, acted on consistently, changes the trajectory of a life more reliably than 10 years of regret ever could. So what does the decision look like? Not abstract, practical. It looks like identifying the single domain of your life where the gap between who you are and who you are capable of being is costing you the most. Not the most dramatic gap, not the most impressive one to close, the most expensive one, the one that has been generating the most debt in the dark. Name it. You already know what it is. You have known for longer than you have been comfortable admitting. It looks like this. Tomorrow morning, not next week, not after the project ends, not when the conditions are marginally better. Tomorrow morning, before the noise of the day crowds in, you make one move toward that domain. One honest move, not the finished product, not the transformed life. One brick, placed deliberately, placed with the understanding that the man at 70 is watching you place it. The Roman architect Vitruvius wrote that great structures are built on three principles: firmness, usefulness, and beauty. In that order. Not beauty first, firmness first, the decision that holds under pressure, the standard that does not bend when no one is watching. The move that is made not because you feel ready, but because you understand that readiness is a story the machine tells you to avoid the discomfort of beginning. The second payment is the release of the ghost, not the suppression of him, not the pretending he was never there. The release. You look at him clearly, that other version of you, the one who took the road you didn't, and you say something that may be the most stoic sentence available to a human being, that life was not the only worthy life. It was a possibility. It was vivid. It was real enough to generate genuine grief. And it is gone. Not because you failed, because time moved, as time always moves, and closed certain doors while leaving others open. The man who grieves every closed door dies in the hallway. The man who learns which doors are still available to him and moves through them with the deliberate step of someone who understands what is at stake, that man is not behind. He is, in the most structural sense, exactly where the work of building always begins. At the beginning, with clear eyes, with the materials he actually has. The third payment is perhaps the most quietly radical. Stop explaining your life to the people who didn't earn the explanation. A significant portion of the choices that led you here, the safe ones, the defensible ones, the ones that look reasonable in conversation, were made for an audience. The approval of a parent, the understanding of a peer group, the comfort of fitting into a narrative that required nothing genuinely difficult from you. Character, real character, the structural kind, is what holds when there is no audience. The decision you make tonight, in this room, where no one is watching, where no one will ever know the exact texture of what shifted, that decision is worth more than 10 years of performing your values for the benefit of people who were never really paying attention. Close the gap, not perfectly, not all at once, but genuinely. One honest move. Tonight. The day is a closed ledger, every entry made. Nothing unwritten can be written tonight. There is a particular kind of stillness that belongs only to the end of things, the end of the day, the end of the argument, the end of the long rehearsal of everything you could have done differently. That stillness is not defeat. It is the machine finally, mercifully, going quiet. You built something today, imperfectly, perhaps quietly, perhaps in ways you could not see from the inside. But the bricks were placed, the ledger closed with something in it. That is enough for now. Think of the statue. The Stoics returned to this image again and again, not the moving man, not the striving man, but the statue. Still, unmoved by the weather, not because it has no interior, but because its foundation is so deep that the surface disturbances simply do not reach it. That is not coldness. That is architecture. The ghost is not here tonight. You do not need to build him. You do not need to argue with him. You do not need to justify yourself to the version of your life that did not happen. That version is not in this room. This room contains only what is actual: the weight of the blanket, the particular quality of the dark, the sound of the building settling around you in its slow, mechanical language. This is what is real. This is what is yours. Logic is your only sanctuary, and logic in this hour says only one thing: rest. The debt does not compound in sleep. The machine does not make poor decisions in sleep. The ghost does not visit in the deep, still dark where the thinking stops, and the body does the quiet, unglamorous work of rebuilding itself for the day that is coming. That work is happening now. Without your supervision, without your anxiety, without any of the stories you tell yourself about who you are and who you failed to become. Just the machinery of the body running its ancient protocol, preparing the man for the morning. You are not behind. Say that now, silently, to yourself. Not as affirmation, not as comfort, as fact. You are not behind. You are at the exact coordinates of every decision you have ever made, standing in the present, which is the only place anything has ever been built. The 70-year-old is still being constructed. He is patient. He does not require perfection. He requires only that you do not waste the remaining material. And you have more remaining material than the machine lets you believe at 3 a.m. The day is a closed ledger. The night is not a place for new entries. The night is for stillness, for the machinery to cool, for the foundation to settle. Let the ghost go. He is not lost. He is simply not the man you are building. And the man you are building, the one being assembled right now in the dark, decision by decision, brick by brick, he is enough. He has always been enough. He just needed the noise to stop long enough to hear it. Let the noise stop. The room is still, the ledger is closed, the machine is quiet. You still have time. Use it, but not tonight. Tonight, only this. Breathe. Be still. Let the architecture hold.